All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Again, I want to welcome everybody and thank you for joining. This is part of a new series that we've started at Strava called Tuesday Trainings. And we're going to be picking some topics and every other week giving some free training on different topics. Would love to get your suggestions on any topics that you might want to see us feature in the CRM space, which could be anything marketing, sales, customer service, etc. So feel free to drop me a line, give me any ideas that you'd like to see us cover, and we'll certainly look at getting those on the agenda for you. So today we're here to talk about website visitors and how to turn those website visitors into customers. And I think you'll really like what you see today. It's very practical advice based on tools and techniques that we use in our own company and that we've seen our customers use and also be successful with. So my name's Dave Buggy. I'm president here at Strava, and my contact information here is on the screen. So if you'd like to reach out directly with any questions, or if you'd like a follow-up conversation to today's topic, by all means, feel free to reach out in any of the methods here listed on the screen. So a little bit about Strava Technology Group. For those of you that aren't familiar with us, we're 100% focused on helping businesses achieve success with customer relationship management. We have a staff of very senior level resources, lots of years of experience in the CRM realm, and have helped lots of businesses implement and achieve success with CRM technology. So we've been around the block lots of times and have a lot of best practice guidance that we can share as you go on your own CRM journey. So we have a lot of experience with the Dynamics CRM and now called Dynamics 365 platform. I think all of us here have been working with that platform for over 10 years. I know myself for about 14 years. And I always like to say that we go a lot deeper than just the technology to provide solutions to real business challenges. And that kind of is a good segue into what we're going to talk about today. Obviously, you're on the session because you either have a challenge in converting people that are visiting your site into prospects and then ultimately into customers, or you'd like to see if you have a problem, right? So today we're going to delve deeper into that exact topic. So I thought we'd start with a little bit of conversation around the metrics and what the market is saying about the topic that we're going to talk about today. So the first item here is inbound or outbound marketing. Where should you be focusing your efforts today and your investments today in marketing? And I think that no matter where you look and what sources that you look at for your statistics, you're going to find the same type of trend, which is that inbound marketing is where a lot of people are focusing their effort and their investments today, and it's generating a lot more ROI than outbound marketing is. And we'll talk about why that is and a few other interesting statistics here. But inbound marketing is delivering cost per lead that's significantly less than that of outbound traditional marketing, about 61% cheaper than outbound marketing, and that's via HubSpot. B2B, B2C, and even nonprofits, they're reporting significantly higher ROI with inbound marketing, about 3 times higher on average than with outbound marketing. And what is inbound versus outbound marketing? Well, probably should have started there, but inbound is drawing people into your website or your blog or another vehicle that you're using for marketing versus sending out mailers and doing telemarketing and things like that. That's an outbound nature. Billboards or another kind of outbound oriented marketing approach. So there are the differences between inbound and outbound. And you see on the chart over here that looking at the differences in ROI by marketing spend, this is a survey that HubSpot did and surveyed a number of companies that the topic was, where are you seeing your ROI? Is it on inbound marketing or is it on outbound? You can see across the board here, no matter what size company, no matter what marketing budget that you're looking at, it's consistent across the board that inbound marketing is delivering a much greater ROI. So I think interesting as well is what are the top lead sources that people are reporting today across all the different marketing properties that they're managing today. So if you look at the graph here, you can see social media, you see SEO, you see email marketing, and then quite a significant drop off down into the traditional outbound marketing techniques such as trade shows, direct mail, et cetera. So again, backing up what we had talked about on the first slide, which is what percentage of your company's leads are coming from each of the following types of sources. It's showing that the inbound marketing sources are really what's producing the leads today. Also, what's not working? So, in a study across a number of years, and this was updated most recently in 2015, which the data was about the same, is looking at what tactics from a marketing perspective are losing market share. And if you look across that list, you see that traditional and then up into direct marketing, telemarketing, trade shows, et cetera, they're losing the most ground comparatively to things like blogs, SEO, social media. You'll notice that even pay-per-click, the effectiveness and the numbers of people that are utilizing things like pay-per-click has dropped off in the last number of years in favor of things like blogs, traditional SEO, social media, et cetera. So I think everybody that's on the phone likely has website traffic. And so now what, right? So you've got people visiting your site. You're probably looking at things like Google Analytics reports and maybe other tools that you're looking at that show that people are coming and visiting your site. You're probably very interested in tracking your conversion rates, which are the rates of people that visit your site converting into something, a call to action, et cetera, right? So I think there are two types of conversions that stand out certainly to me. One is a call to action. So when somebody comes to your website, they fill out a form, they call you, they email you, etc. They download something, some type of call to action is performed. So that's one type of conversion. And the second type is a purchase conversion. So we all sell something, even if you're a nonprofit. You're selling the nonprofit and trying to gain donations or what have you to the nonprofit. So we're all selling something. So we could all end up with a purchase, but I think it's very different in talking about a company that is an e-commerce focused company versus a company that's not fully e-commerce enabled, right? Because these conversions, the conversion to purchase could be a lot greater for a company that's heavy e-commerce oriented versus a company that's maybe not e-commerce is not conducive to what they sell. So we have to keep those kind of things in mind that aren't easy to nail down into very specifics. So we're going to stay kind of a little bit higher level in generalities. So about 12% of the people that come to a website actually convert. Now, again, that's different for lots of different companies. It's different by industry. It's different, based on what you sell, whether it's a product or a service, et cetera. So this is just an all-up statistic from HubSpot that says that about 12% of people that come to any website on average do anything. Okay. Does that mean they don't have interest? Not at all. In fact, most of the time that we find that people are visiting your site because they absolutely do have an interest, information's free, right? So people can go and they can look at lots and lots and lots of different sites and poke around and never do anything, and it doesn't cost them anything, right? So they typically do have an interest in what you have to offer, product or service wise. They're just not taking any call to action. Could be a lot of reasons for that. Could mean that maybe your call to actions, aren't laid out correctly. They're not the right calls to actions. The person just didn't see it, et cetera. There could be lots of reasons why they don't take any action. But again, about 12% of people that come to your site will do anything other than look and leave. The average e-commerce conversion rate in terms of a purchase, again, two different types of conversions we're talking about here, is about 2.35%. And again, that's across a lot of different companies and staying at a more general level here as we look at these statistics. Again, it's very different by industry. It's very different based on what you sell, et cetera. Some of the top converting online retailers, this was a study that was done in late 2016. Google Play is one of the highest at 30%. Which makes sense to me. I know I use a Google device, and when I go to their Google Play Store, I'm looking for something pretty specific, or I saw something that drove me to the store that I was maybe interested in. So the conversion rate's pretty high. Dollar Shave Club, if you look at their site, you can learn about conversions and calls to action. I think they do a phenomenal job, and the data backs it up here, that they have a very high conversion rate. Now, again, this is a e-commerce conversion to a sale. So about 20% of the visitors to Dollar Shave Club's website actually make a purchase. They sign up for their service, which is tremendous. I'm sure Dollar Shave Club would say it'd be better if it was 40%, but 20% is unbelievable compared to the national average e-commerce conversion rate of 2.35%. 1-800 contacts, another really high conversion rate, 18%. 1-800 flowers, 17%. So what you don't see here is anybody above 30%. And I think Google Play, you kind of have to, I don't know if what they're including in Google Play are the free downloads that they offer. I think that probably is included in there, but I'm not sure about that. Companies don't really like to share their conversion rates. So some of these are gathered by tools in that, not necessarily by data provided by each of these companies, but they're pretty accurate. So these are high performers. So again, the national average is about 2.35%. So if you want to get some really good ideas of conversions and calls to actions and see what top performers are doing on their sites that are causing people to convert, these are some really, really good sites to go and take a look at. So again, we all have traffic. How do you leverage that data to actually create, let's say, prospects, create engagement, and then ultimately turn those into buying customers? Well, really, there's only one way to do that. I mean, there's probably lots of sub-ways that you can think of to talk about converting data and utilizing data, but I think largely to take those visitors that are unknown in most cases and actually make them actionable is to, first of all, utilize a tool that's going to provide you with the information on who is visiting your site. There are a number of tools out there. We'll compare and contrast a couple of them today just based on our own experience. But these tools will give you information about who specifically, what company, in other words, is visiting your website. The way that they do that is that it's information that these companies have built into their own proprietary databases or that they're licensing to other software providers to be able to utilize their data. But it's databases that basically make a match between an IP address and a company. So if XYZ company is using Comcast and they have a static IP address assigned to them, which means that when people that are on that network within that company are visiting the internet, when they go out to visit the internet, it's going out on a dedicated IP address that's assigned by their internet service provider. In our example, it's Comcast. So that long number is like the unique phone number for that particular business on the internet. It's the unique number that identifies them on the internet. So what companies have done is over a number of years, they have gathered that information and they've made matches from the IP address back to the company that's assigned that IP address. So if you have a static IP address, which even a lot of the home services now, Fios, Comcast at Home, you'll have static IP addresses. So that IP address doesn't change, or it doesn't change very often. So when you visit the internet, that data is publicly available. People can grab that data, and if they can, correlate that back to you or your company, then that goes into a database, and that's how they're performing these matches. It really is only useful in B2B sales models. It does not go to the consumer level. So if your market is that of the consumer, and they're typically visiting from their home internet or their mobile device, whatever, that this probably isn't going to be the best strategy for you. There's other strategies that would probably be a lot better for you to focus on. Unfortunately, this data does not show information on people. It only shows information on businesses. And we're going to talk about how we get to a person level as we go through a demonstration as in terms of how we're using this technology. And it's been very effective for us. So we'll get to that in just a moment or two here. So the two tools that we use, one is Click Dimensions and the other is called Lead Forensics. So we use these both in our business. They both have website visitor tracking elements to them. They're very different in the capabilities around website visitor tracking, and Click Dimensions has a ton of other marketing automation features that Lead Forensics does not. So while they do some things like visitor tracking, they're very different products overall. Click Dimensions much more of a marketing automation product. Lead Forensics really specializes in what we're going to talk about today, which is harvesting data off your website visits. So if you have Click Dimensions, you're absolutely able to go in and take a look at who is visiting your website, because they do. If you have the tracking code on your website, it is tracking who is visiting your website. The big difference between these two products in the topic at hand today is that Lead Forensics has the most mature database of IP addresses to companies that's in existence. So they are the number one. They're the leader in this space because it's all about the data, right? And even Lead Forensics being the leader in this space, they only make a match about 60 to 65% of the time. So you're still not going to get 100%. Of the people that are visiting your website, you're not going to see 100% of that traffic because there is not a database that provides 100%, match from IP address to a business. So even Lead Forensics being the leader, they can only show you about 65%. In other words, what they have in their database versus what they don't. Okay. So again, Click Dimensions probably not a bad place to get started with this type of technology, but their database is not nearly as robust as Lead Forensics. In fact, Click Dimensions, the way that it does an identification to a visitor is very different. It doesn't necessarily use a database, in other words, to make a match between an IP address and a company name. With Click Dimensions, the way it's able to name a visitor, the visitor has to perform one of two things. They either have to click on a link that was sent in a Click Dimensions email campaign, or they have to fill out a form on your website. Once one of those two things happen, then they're now an identified visitor. And they'll show you in the Dynamics 365 or Dynamics CRM system, it'll start showing you that that particular contact or lead and visits that they're making to your website. So they become an identified visitor. It does show page visits. It does show referring information. So where are those visits coming from? Is it Google? Is it a pay-per-click? Is it a blog site, etc.? So they do show that, but very different in the way that they are providing the visitor tracking. Lead Forensics, it only shows identified visits, so it doesn't show anonymous visits or unidentified visits. There's not really much value I've found in that, so they just don't even show them. As we talked about, they have the most robust database of IP addresses to companies out on the internet. They also show page visits. They show referring information, and you're also able to use a really interesting feature with Lead Forensics called unique URLs. So in other words, if I was putting let's say an advertisement out on LinkedIn, and I wanted through Lead Forensics to see very specifically when somebody came off that one single advertisement versus just coming from LinkedIn as a whole, then what you're able to do is you're just able to add tags at the end of your URLs. So within your ad on LinkedIn, you would add a slash and a pound sign, and then anything you want. So it could be LinkedIn end of summer specialty ad, and that would show up in Lead Forensics as you look at those visits that are being generated off of that click from LinkedIn. Again, that would be very different than if you didn't add that. It would just show it came from LinkedIn. It wouldn't show you what specific ad or article that those clicks came from. So that could be really valuable to see, what specific ads or articles people are converting on and clicking on and ending up on your website. Okay, so they're the two tools that we've used. Actually, again, we use both, and we use these in combination with our Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM system. And I'll show you in the demonstration, which we're going to get to in just a second, how this all kind of comes together in real life scenario to be able to harvest this data off your site and turn this into not only some type of engagement, but also a prospect, and then ultimately, hopefully, a customer. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump over to the demonstration. And I'm going to start the demonstration here in Lead Forensics. So this is a portal that is web enabled. So you simply go to a portal, log in, and it gives you the information about who's been visiting your site. So it's got some really good information in dashboards. So it shows, most active companies. It shows you what states or areas or countries that people are visiting. It shows you industries that are visiting. It shows you visits. This is not live data, by the way. So just wanted to make that clear here. And actually, I'm being told that my screen is not showing up. So let me just stop that and reshare it. So thank you for that heads up. Okay, so you should be seeing my lead forensics dashboard now, and we'll talk through that again. So when you come into your dashboard, again, this is not live data. This is demonstration or just test data. So you won't see a lot of data here, but it's certainly enough to show you what we're working with here. So you have a nice dashboard. You can configure these dashboards. Users can have their own dashboards, and it shows you some really good information at a glance. You know, who are the most active companies that are visiting you, what area of the country are they from, what industries are they from, visits by day, and then you can also, like I said, customize this dashboard. Each user can customize it uniquely for them. So where I spend most of my time is in the visitors list. And the visitors list here is going to show you in reverse chronological order the visits that have been made to your website. Okay, so this is a list of visits in reverse chronological order of people that have visited the test site that we're using behind this particular lead forensics portal here. So I want to open up one of these, and I'll just show you some information about what data that you get using a tool like Lead Forensics. So what it's telling me is that Toyota Industries in North America made a visit to this site. They had one visit, so it does track multiple visits. It tells you how many visits, what pages they visited, etc. We'll get through that in a minute. It tells you company information automatically, again, pulled from their database. Gives you information on how to contact this particular company, their website, even gives you their LinkedIn profile as well as Facebook and Twitter if it knows it. So you'd be able to click on those right from here and be able to launch right out and look at their social media properties. Gives you industry information, employees, etc. It also gives you a link right to their website. So right from here, you can make a click and you'd be out right on that website of the visit that came into yours. Okay, so you could gain a little bit more information, you know, kind of see what kind of company they are and et cetera as you go to prospect them. Gives you some overview company level detail about this particular company. So it pulls that off of publicly available information sources. So it's just giving us a description. A lot of times that's right off their website and tells you a little bit more about the company that made the visit to your site. Down here, you can highlight visits as active customers, prospects, high value prospects, competitors, vendors. So once you highlight them, whenever they show up again in your portal, you'll have a quick reference by just the color that you're associating to each one of those things. You'll be able to see at a glance, are they a customer, are they a prospect, a high value prospect, et cetera. And then who is this particular visit or in this case, a lead assigned to. So we can assign it to any person on our team. The lead forensics product is not licensed by the amount of users. You can have numbers of users in there. It's licensed basically based on the amount of web traffic or visits that you're getting to your site. We'll cover that a little bit more later on. So what it's telling me down here is that they visited 2 pages when they came in to our site. They visited our main URL and they visited the page that is our team. Okay, so I can also change that and show the title of the pages that they visited if that makes more sense to me. So I can see that, you know, if they're visiting a unique product page or information about a particular service, then that tells me potentially what they were interested in as they made a visit to our website. Okay. So going back up to the top here, then the last thing that I want to show you here is the push to Dynamics 365 or Dynamics CRM. This record has already been pushed over, so it's going to say view instead of push to. But if it's a record that has not yet been pushed over to Dynamics, then it would say, I think it says actually add to Dynamics CRM. When you click on that, it asks you what Dynamics user the resulting lead will be assigned to. Okay, so if I go back to the visitor here, I'll just grab any one of these sample records here. And what you'll see is up there, it'll say add to or import to Dynamics CRM. And when I click on that, you'll see that it will ask me who I want to send it to. Okay, so let's go back over here and let's now go over into our Dynamics 365 system. Again, not real data, but certainly we'll be able to show you how the whole process comes together here. So That record that we were just on was called LDV Inc. And they've made a number of visits out to our site. I think about 24 in total. 17 of them are showing up here in the CRM record. These are actually pulled in and kept up to date by Lead Forensics. So if we went back over to the Lead Forensics page, if this company made another visit, which you would see popping up here on the screen in your portal, as they make additional visits, then their record in Dynamics CRM is updated to reflect that they've had another visit. So you can drill into any one of these visit records and you'll see exactly what page they visited, what day and what time, etc. So we'll just pick one of these randomly and take a look at it. So it's telling me that this particular website visitor came into our site on a certain day and time, how many pages they visited, where they came from. So this was an inner site visit. So they went from one page to another page within our site, and that's where it's showing the referring page. And then ultimately, then down here is the page that they visited on this particular visit record. Okay, so if I went back, you would see that if we picked another one, it would have different information, likely. I mean, they may be visiting some of the same pages, but likely they're probably, just browsing around the site. So this will be updated as, additional visits are made by anybody from this organization. The other thing you can do in Lead Forensics that I find really helpful is to set a record on a watch list. So if I went into a record here, you can say add to watch list. And basically what that's going to do is anytime that company visits the website again, I'm going to get an immediate notification because it's assigned to me and I put them on my watch list that I'm going to get an immediate notification that they're on the site. So a couple things you could do with that. If you have chat software on your site, you could jump into that and reach out and engage them. We use the chat software by Live Assist that's fully integrated within Microsoft Dynamics 365 or CRM. It's by CafeX, so visits show up right inside of Dynamics. You're able to manage and monitor and engage with people on your website without ever having to leave the Dynamics CRM or Dynamics 365 user interface. Okay, so back to our topic here. This record got pushed over from Lead Forensics into Dynamics 365. But again, you're still at the point where you don't have actionable information, right? Because you have a company. You have what pages were visited, what days and times, etc., but you don't have a person. Well, it's not going to tell you the person. It's not part of the technology. It just isn't there. Remember, it's matching by IP address to company name, not IP address to company to person. Okay, because there could be, behind that company's firewall, there could be 5,000 people, and they're not uniquely identified as they visit the internet. They all come out on that same IP address. Okay, so hope that makes sense. So to get to a person level, what we're utilizing our CRM system. So as I take a look at this account here, when I come down into the account, you'll notice that we have some functionality in our CRM system that gives me more information about this particular company. This is being pulled from lots and lots and lots of different internet data sources. Okay, so whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Hoover's, LinkedIn, et cetera, there's hundreds and hundreds of sites that provide information about companies, and they're all aggregated inside of Dynamics 365 using this tool. So you can, update the record that you have on the screen. So right now I'm looking at a record for a company called LDV Inc. If I click this button here, it would update the account information with any information that it has that I don't. Like you'll notice that I don't have revenue. It unfortunately for this particular record does not have revenue either, as I tried it earlier. But if I didn't have number of employees, or maybe their phone number, et cetera, it would likely be able to fill that stuff in for me just by clicking on this Update Account Information button. what I really use this for is that I go out and I research the company. So this is all happening in literally a couple minutes. There's a visit record that gets logged on our site. One of our team members goes out and takes a look at it, determines if it would be a good prospect for us to go after. If it is, then they add it to Dynamics 365 using the integration to Dynamics from Lead Forensics. They come in here, they open up the record that just got pushed in, and now they're researching in that record. Okay, so they're looking for what's this company all about, what industry are they in, they're looking for what pages they visited to know what their interest is. And in our world, being that we're very, very focused on CRM, that there are a couple of key contacts that we typically engage with. That's anybody on the executive level of sales, the executive level of marketing, and then down into some operations. But really the executives in sales, in marketing, and in customer service are the people that we typically want to engage with. So our team, what they do is they come out and they use this tool inside of our Dynamics 365 system to find the contacts at this company that would be target contacts for us. Okay, so you can see that we've already added 3 of those from this data into our dynamic system, and I know that because there's a plus check mark here on that record. If I notice, for example, that I didn't have somebody that I wanted in my CRM system, I could just highlight that record and I could say add to Dynamics, and what it'll do basically is it'll take that contact and it will automatically create them into the record that we have up in the background here, which in this case is that LDV Inc. record. So it's telling me that that record for Corey Whitehouse was added to my Dynamics 365 system. If I come out here and I look at contacts now, there should be, may take a second for it to come over, but it will show up right here. These contacts all came from that facility that we were just using up here. So that's how we get to the contact level. We find that this tool inside of Dynamics 365 is really super powerful for finding the right contacts. And now you're at the point where you can engage directly with those contacts because you have their names, you have their positions. In most cases, you also have their email addresses. So out of 5 records here, we got 4 email addresses. So that's a pretty good hit rate on being able to bring over email addresses from that service as well. Another tool that we use, if you will, is that we'll go to LinkedIn. So we'll go out to LinkedIn. Again, remember back on the Lead Forensics screen, it has a link right to their LinkedIn profile. So you could, launch out to their LinkedIn profile and then be able to look at from their LinkedIn profile who works for this particular organization. Okay, so this is another way that you can go out and you can get to a contact level. A little bit off topic, but I think very related here is that if I'm using, for example, LinkedIn to harvest contacts off of their LinkedIn profile, I may likely, well, I wouldn't have their email address, right? So what we did is we built a little tool that we offer customers in our Dynamics 365 system that what it does is it automatically validates an email address as you put it into the system. So let's say that, I was prospecting this Frank Solafra, and I didn't know Frank's email address, but I know that their website is ldvinc.com. Okay, or ldvusa.com. So what I could do is I could start typing in the normal format for an email address. So first initial, last name, first name dot last name, and the tool that we have built here inside of Dynamics 365 will tell us how accurate that email address is. And it may be risky because it is not getting the proper response. There's the record for Corey I just saw that we added most recently. There we go. Let's see if we have Corey's email address. We do. So you may see risky here, but most of the time you'll either see that it's a validated email address or it's not, meaning it's either real or not. And there's some back end, obviously, coding that we've implemented here that goes out and does some checking on that email address against their mail server to tell us whether that's a valid email address or not. So usually within 2 tries, I can figure out somebody's email address, and within literally a minute or two, I can harvest several contacts off of LinkedIn. I can come in here and use this tool to get to their email address and get it to where I know it's a good email address, and now I've got all the information I need to go and engage with them. Okay. So now that we have the contacts, whichever way that you do that, whether you're using LinkedIn, whether you're using the tool that I showed you that we have built into Dynamics 365, you now have contacts that you can go out and reach out to and get into conversation. Depending on your business, you might want to handle this one of 2 ways. I've seen a lot of companies where they have a person or 2 that are centrally responsible for getting it to this point, where I would consider it to be kind of a sales ready lead or prospect. Okay, so you have one person that knows the full process from who to pick off lead forensics, what's the right type of prospects that we want, getting those pushed into your CRM system, getting them profiled properly, going out and harvesting the right contacts from LinkedIn or the tool that we use in Dynamics 365, getting it all the way to the point where all the sales rep has to do is start to call on the people that you've identified within that company that we want to reach out to. So that's one way. I've seen companies be very successful with that, where they have a small group or a small team of people that's what they do. Other companies, their sales force is more diligent, and they're able to let their sales force take over this process. They simply, have their sales reps monitoring the lead forensics site. When they see a prospect out there that they want to work on, they simply assign it to themselves, so everybody else knows that it's being worked on. They push it into Dynamics, and the sales rep then goes and profiles it, pulls in the right contacts, and reaches out to them. I tend to think that the former is probably the preferred process for a lot of companies, because they want consistency over getting the information in, what type of contacts are pulled in, how it's profiled, et cetera. And we all know that probably sales does not always treat that type of process with the most care, if you will. And I'm in sales myself, so I'm talking about myself here as well. So anyway, once you get these records into the system, now we're going to typically leverage our click dimensions functionality to reach out and engage these contacts. So there's a couple different ways that we do that. One is that within our system, we have quick send email templates. So you can see that when I pull this up, it'll give me a drop-down list of templates that I have to choose from. And I have a few that are very specific to following up on prospects that we bring in through lead forensics. Because we don't know the specific person that made a visit to our site. So we're guessing, and we're reaching out to the people that we know we want to connect with, but we have no way to tell whether it was that person that reached out to us or not, right? So we have a template that basically just introduces ourselves and says that we've noticed somebody from your company making visits to our website. Thought we'd reach out and see if we can answer any questions for you. And if you're not the right person, then please put us in touch with the right person. So some generic templates like that we leverage through Click Dimensions. We also leverage the nurture functionality as well. So I could put them on a nurture campaign that would drip information out to them over a period of time based on how that drip campaign is set up, right? So marketing a lot of times isn't about one touch hitting the person at the exact right time so that they become interested. A lot of times it's more about keeping your name out in front of a prospect until they have a buying need. So they may not have a problem today with the pump, that you could replace, but in 3 weeks you're dripping your information out, that pump breaks, and your information's fresh on their mind. You have a much greater likelihood of receiving that call from that prospect than somebody that doesn't keep their name fresh out in front of the prospect. And a great way to do that is through the nurture type of functionality. Okay, so obviously then we're also calling on these prospects as well. So if I go back here and I go into the account, I can look up on the account, I can look at what activities have been performed, and we can see that our sales team has been following up on this and trying to make contact and calling and emailing both to try and get engaged and have a conversation. So that creates a complete closed loop process, right? So you've got people hitting your site, you've got a tool that you're using to harvest that information and make it actionable in Lead Forensics. You're bringing that data into your CRM tool. By the way, Lead Forensics does have its own kind of little tiny CRM tool, if you will. So if you go over here, you can notice that on a prospect out here in Lead Forensics, you can add notes, you can add it to your lead manager, and then you've got an area in Lead Forensics that you can kind of treat as like I wouldn't even call it a CRM tool. It's really kind of a callback management tool that reps can use. So if you don't have a full-blown CRM system, well, we'd love to talk to you about Dynamics 365. We think you'd be very impressed, but you do have functionality right here in Lead Forensics for very, very basic follow-up on the leads that you're tracking through Lead Forensics. Okay. I like it because it also creates full accountability. So when we bring those records into our Dynamics 365 system and we assign it to a salesperson, it creates that full accountability for who is to follow up on that particular prospect. And we have workflow and so forth in our dynamic system that tells us when leads aren't being followed up and so forth. So creates full accountability and assures that somebody is following up on the prospects that you're harvesting through these tools. Okay, so go ahead and go back to our PowerPoint here. If anybody has any questions, just want to remind you that there is a Q&A tool right in your webinar client that if you have any questions, feel free to post them there. We'll certainly be allowing time at the end for some questions, and I don't think we'll be taking up the whole hour. So if anybody has any questions, please go ahead and post them out there. So what I can offer you, if you're interested in what you saw today, is a free trial of Lead Forensics, and it's a managed trial. So it's not one where you just click a button and something installs and then it's up to you to go, decipher it or utilize it. It's a managed trial, meaning that the Lead Forensics code gets put on your website. It runs for a couple weeks to collect information about who's visiting your site. We then meet with you to go over that information. So make sure it makes sense to you and see if you have any questions. And really, it proves its own value at that point because you're able to see with your own two eyes, hey, here's the visits and the traffic that you're missing, that today you're not doing anything with because you can't. Here's that data. So it's a really, really great way to see what your traffic looks like, what companies are visiting your site and how much you're missing in that arena today and what you could do to leverage that data going forward. So if you're interested in that managed trial, of course, there's no obligation. There's a URL here that I'll send in an email as a follow-up to today's session, but simply go out to this URL and you'll be able to fill out a quick form. There's 4 pieces of information. We'll get back in touch with you and we will get you started on a managed trial and let you see for yourself, what kind of traffic you might be missing and how much value there could be in harvesting that traffic. So that's the end of the content that we had prepared today. We do have a couple questions out there. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and enter those in your Q&A client. One is that does Lead Forensics work with different website providers? I've not found one that it doesn't work with. I can tell you that there are providers that are somewhat restricted today on allowing you into the back end. So, for example, the sites that allow you to do point-and-click creation of websites. So there's Wix and there's, a couple of other ones I can't come to mind right now, but those type of sites sometimes restrict you from getting into the HTML. So what happens there is that you're not able to leverage certain features of a product like Lead Forensics. The only thing that I've ever found missing was getting to the actual page that was visited on the site. So you'll still get, who visited, what the company was, all their overview information, everything you saw today. The only thing that you won't see is what specific pages they visited. And again, that's only on very restrictive website platforms. We're on WordPress backend, and we don't have any of those issues. So if you're on one of those kind of point and click type of website platforms, you might have just that one restriction. Another question here is, does Lead Forensics work with CRM on-premise? The answer is yes. It does require a more recent version. I believe it's 2013 or higher. It may be 2015 and higher. I'd have to check into that, but it does work with both on-premise and online. We're on online, and literally was, took us 15 minutes to get this whole thing set up and integrated with our dynamic CRM system. Okay. Somebody else had asked, the pricing. It's hard to talk about the pricing for Lead Forensics because it's based on the amount of web traffic that you're getting to your site. So if you're in Amazon.com, you're going to pay a heck of a lot more than somebody that that has a couple thousand visits per month. So the best way to do that, again, is to set up that trial. Go ahead and put that URL back on the screen here. Go ahead and set up that trial, because what that's going to do for you is it's going to show you exactly how much traffic that you have. The price will be locked in based on that trial period. So if it's an off period, then you're going to lock that price in for a year. And if you do much more internet marketing and you double your traffic, you're still going to pay the lower price until your year commitment is up. Okay. I can tell you that the average company that I've seen that I've helped go on to this technology is paying somewhere between $300 and $600 flat rate per month. So extremely affordable. And think about the value in finding all the people that are visiting your site and being able to engage with them and so forth. I know we've converted about 3 website visits into actual customers in the last 2 months alone. So huge payoff for us. And one of the reasons that we wanted to highlight this in today's session is that we've just found so much use for it ourselves, and wanted to share that with you all that joined us today. So that's the end of our questions. Really appreciate everybody joining today. I'll get this link out to you. Please use this link if you'd like to go ahead with a trial of this. I think it may provide you with a lot of insight that you may not have today. Again, thank you for joining. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me directly, and look for our next training session that's coming up in 2 weeks. Thanks again. Appreciate your attendance, and everybody have a wonderful day.